The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, a game that was originally released on Nintendo 64 in 1998, then later ported onto the GameCube, and then later ported onto the Wii Virtual Console in 2007, and then most recently ported onto the Nintendo 3DS. This is a clue that this is one of the greatest games of all time, and one of my favourite games. Why? Well, it was a groundbreaking game, the same as Super Mario 64, which was my last review, and just to mention, in my last review, if I wasn't as informative as I should have been, that was because it's my favourite game, and yeah, well, it's my favourite game, and I would highly recommend you play that, as I highly recommend that you play this, because this is a legend, as the title says, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. So, the game is about a young boy who grows up in a forest, and one day a fairy arrives at his house, and he has to go on a quest to save Hyrule from the evil king known as Ganondorf, and he also has to save the princess, who is Zelda. And throughout the game there's loads of things, loads of quests you have to do. My favourite, of course, being inside the dungeons. They're all really good. The first dungeon is the Deku Tree, really good. I remember as a kid, when I played it, I could only get past this part of the game, nothing else, because this is probably the easiest dungeon, as it's the first dungeon in the game, and it has the boss at the end of the game, Queen Goma. End of the dungeon, sorry, not the end of the game. Queen Goma, quite easy to kill, as it's the first boss. It's like that with every video game, well, nearly every game, anyway. And then after that, the game opens up, and this game is a lot bigger than Super Mario 64. There's loads more things to do, a lot more areas to explore, and you get loads of weapons, such as the slingshot, sword, shield, bow and arrow, and my favourite of them all, the hookshot, which you acquire later on in the game. And if you've not played the game, I won't spoil it for you, because play it for yourself, see what you think of it. It is a great game, and I would highly recommend it. So after the Great Deku Tree dungeon, you acquire a medallion sort of thing, which is, well, it's a stone really, and you have to get 3 stones and go to this place called the Temple of Time to get peace all over Hyrule. But something goes wrong, but again, I won't spoil it for you. Play it for yourself and you'll find out. So basically, I'd say the first third of the game you're young, and the later parts of the game you're a lot older, and the whole idea is you travel back and forth in time by 7 years, hence why the ocarina is called the Ocarina of Time, which Zelda gives to you in the middle of the game. And again, I won't spoil it for you. And it is really good how they came up with it. It was really groundbreaking at the time. Along the game, you learn loads of songs, such as the Sun Song, which changes the day from, well, light to dark, basically, daytime to nighttime. And also there's the Song of Storms, which is one of my favourites. You get that inside a windmill. and also there's all sorts of songs you learn from this guy called Sheik as well, and yeah, you meet Sheik later on in the game, and I won't spoil it for you again. So there's a lot of things in this game. It's a really good story, and the gameplay is really good. When you're using your slingshot, it goes into first-person perspective. The whole game overall is third-person perspective, just like Super Mario 64, which is great. The graphics for the time were also good as well, although in the 3D version, which was released on the Nintendo 3DS, it was updated, and in my opinion it looks a lot better on the 3DS now than the Nintendo 64. And on the 3DS version, you use your 3D gyroscope to aim your slingshot and arrows, whatever, around, shoot stuff like spiders and walls. And speaking of spiders, and there's loads of enemies in the game, and the music in the game also is really good. You may be able to hear it right now. It's really good music. Some of my favourite music ever in a video game, as it's just got a classic feel to it, if you know what I mean. It just stays with you. The music I like particularly is Ganon's Castle, which is playing right now, and I also like Menu Theme, which was just played, and of course Hyrule Fields, that is really good. Love that. And yeah, there's nothing really more to say, really. The dungeons are the best thing about the game. There's loads of dungeons, such as the Great Deku Tree, as I just mentioned. Also, the Dodgeona's Cavern, which is the second. There you get your bombs, which is in most Zelda games. I think it was in the predecessors to this game. I think there was 4 before this one came out, because there was a big gap between Link's Awakening and this game, and of course this game was the first true 3D Zelda game, and to me it is the best Zelda game, as it just got good story, good gameplay, and this gameplay has been repeated recently in the more recent games. It was repeated in the sequel to this game, which was Majora's Mask, which I hope they do make for Nintendo 3DS. Fingers crossed. Also for the Wind Waker on GameCube, Twilight Princess on GameCube and Wii, and Skyward Sword on Wii. But the less talked about that, the better. I will review that eventually, as I mentioned in my vlog, which I did a while ago. And of course, this game has water temples. Now, Jabu Jabu's belly, which is the third dungeon, I don't mind, but later on in the game, you have to go in proper temples. So you have to go inside a forest temple, a fire temple, a shadow temple, and a spirit temple. And of course, I missed out one temple, which is the water temple. And to me, that is probably the down point about this game. Although in the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, it was vastly improved, and it's a lot better now. Although it is still quite annoying, as you lose your navigation, you don't know where you're going, as later in the game you have to acquire keys to advance through the temples. And yeah, there's loads of items you have to collect all the way through the game in order to complete all sorts of quests. Like, for example, when you're meeting Zelda for the first time earlier on in the game, you have to get this egg from Malon, I think. Is it Malon? Something like that. And you get this egg to wake this guy up because a chicken hatches from the egg and um, just wakes up this guy basically. And yeah, it's really entertaining when that happens, and you do all sorts. There's all sorts of icons on the top of the screen if you're playing the Nintendo 64 version, that is, and you use the yellow buttons or orange buttons as it is on the screen to use your items, so you can use 3 items at once. I always use the ocarina in the same place, and I use 2 other items such as the fairy's bow and bombs, because I use bombs like all the time to unlock secret paths, and in the secret path you get things like gold scuttlers, and you have to collect all these gold scuttlers to gain additional items such as a big rupee bag, because when you start in the game, the highest amount of rupees you can get is 99. There's different types of rupees, like green rupees, which are worth 1 rupee. There's blue rupees, which are worth 5 rupees. Red rupees, which are worth 20 rupees. Purple ones, which are worth 50. And there's all sorts of others. They added more rupees as each game went on, because I think in Wind Waker they added the yellow one, which was 10 rupees if I'm correct. And there's all sorts of treasure chests as well. You have rupees inside, and also collect heart pieces. You have to do everything in the game to collect all the heart pieces and everything like that, because there's loads of secrets to find in order to gain heart pieces, like find a dog and then return it to its owner. That's an example. And also using the lens of truth, where you see invisible areas and you can find secret things, so it's really good. And also, I'll just mention again, the bosses in this game are quite good. My favourite bosses probably Phantom Ganon and Ganondorf at the end, but I won't say what that is like. You'll have to find that out for yourself. So, like Super Mario 64, there's a lot more stuff that I could say about The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. However, that would take me ages to explain, so I hope I've given you a rough idea what the game is like, and I hope that this review is appealing to you who have not played the game. And if you want to play the game, if you've got a Nintendo Wii or a Nintendo 3DS, then buy it, as I think that this game is the reason to get a 3DS right now, for the 3D version of Ocarina of Time, obviously. Otherwise, if you've not got a 3DS but you've got a Nintendo Wii, then download it on the Wii Shop for 1,000 points, which I think is about, last time I paid it was £7. So yeah, get the game, because it's really good game. So thank you for watching this video game review of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe for more video game reviews by me, and I hope you're well. Take care, and until next time, goodbye.